Topic of your choice. This time around, Scottish football referees. So, all I've got to say is Crawford Allen, John Beaton, Craig Charleston, Kevin Clancy, Willie Collum, Stephen Finney, Bobby Madden, John McKendrick, Stephen McLean, Alan Muir, Douglas Ross, Craig Thompson, Mike Roncone, Nick Walsh, a long list of officials and linesmen, and the Scottish FA. You're incompetent, you're letting the lads down. Buck up your ideas, lads. We need better quality than this, and we need better results from our officials. Right, lads, and welcome back to another episode of Topic of Your Choice. This one is obviously going to be looking at the Scottish referees and kind of the whole debacle around them at the moment. And I mean, it has been going on for a good few seasons now, if not for decades, obviously, because referees are always a talking point in football. But for the last few seasons, it's been extremely poor, and it's obviously been massively highlighted this season that there needs to be a change. And with evolving technology in football, there's been different talks about different technology coming in to try and enhance the way that the game is seen by referees. Although in Scotland, are we expecting that sort of stuff to come in? I'm not too sure if it will actually happen up here in Scotland. I think it will take a lot for that type of stuff to occur up here, just down to the money that's involved in kind of putting these things in place. But there's no doubt that the Scottish kind of referees and the Scottish FA and stuff like that, it's been a very poor standard so far this season. There's been numerous kind of situations that have meant that clubs haven't maybe got the result they expected or the result that they deserved in the games. For example, there was one with Rangers at the weekend. Motherwell have had their ones in the past kind of few seasons, down to kind of goal line technology perhaps coming in, where obviously if that was in place they would have had some extra goals. There was one in an Edinburgh derby last season as well, where Ollie Shaw scored a goal against Hearts and that wasn't counted despite going over the line. So there's ones like that that just is a bit baffling how it can't be given, and when it's not given it obviously frustrates the hell out of the fans of the clubs, and also just in general people within football that understand that these kind of situations are going to really affect a club's season, and perhaps it could be the difference between winning a title, going down, or getting into the top six, which is obviously a big thing for Premiership clubs, and then below that in my league, the Scottish Championship with Dunfermline, and obviously any level of football, but particularly in Scotland, of course we're talking, but at any level in Scotland, you want the referees to be making the correct decisions pretty much all of the time. And yes, human error, of course that can come into it. Everyone is human and these jobs are horrendously difficult at times, but with the consistency on how poor it's been so far this season in particular, it's kind of showing up how kind of poor the standard is overall in terms of the referees, and maybe the fact that they're all kind of part-time, and the fact that maybe some of them aren't fit enough to keep up with the game and stuff like that. You've seen that with the Rangers one at the weekend, where the linesmen didn't really manage to keep up with play enough to actually be able to call Rangers' perfect goal that they scored through Kyle Lafferty against Dundee. So there's ones like that. As I said, Rangers are obviously at the top of the league, fighting for, well, trying to fight for the title at the moment. If that decision had went their way, then they might have got the 3 points and then been closer to Celtic and actually putting a bit of pressure on, but obviously Rangers didn't play that well anyway, and they didn't get the result, mainly down to that goal not being given. So that means that they are now a few points behind Celtic, and it has kind of caused them a couple of points, and that's the kind of situations I'm talking about. For me, I was never really as fussed about it until it concerned my own team, and obviously at the weekend we got beat 2-0 for Partick Thistle. We didn't play horrendously well in the second half, we played alright in the first half, and I'm not entirely advocating that we deserve anything really from the game, but it's these type of decisions that can eventually impact on a result. For example, we could have been going into the kind of last 20 minutes only being 1-0 down and having a far better opportunity in terms of even the mindset of the players if it was only 1-0. But when it went 2-0, despite the ball not actually crossing the line, it sends the players into a sort of mindset problem, and of course that's an internal thing within the players. They need to be able to fight back and go on and win the game despite situations going against them, really. But of course, if these calls were made perfect, then none of this would be happening. If technology was in place, which as I said I don't think it will eventually come into place at all because of the money involved, it should, but I'm not entirely sure if it will, considering the amount of money that it will cost the Scottish FA, and we all know what they're like with the money and stuff like that. The standard of refereeing and obviously any other kind of linesman stuff. Obviously the one that I talked about with Rangers at the weekend was mainly the linesman. The one at the weekend for us was the linesman and the referee, so there's a lot of different kind of scenarios. Celtic have obviously had debatable calls in recent seasons as well. A lot of teams, it affects everyone in Scotland, and for the standard to be so poor, it obviously reflects on the game up here in Scotland. They're letting the side down by the quality being so poor. And of course, as I said, human error comes into it. It's not an easy job. I wouldn't be a referee 100%. I wouldn't be a linesman. I wouldn't be any of it, because there's so much that's involved in doing it. And that's even before you get to going on the pitch and being an actual referee. But once they're there and they're claiming to be the best referees in our nation, it needs to be better. It just needs to be a better quality of refereeing, and we can't keep letting teams down in terms of really big calls and really big decisions that are being made that cost team games, and that is the be all and end all. If it's going to cost a team a result, whether that's getting a point late on or getting a win, or if it's the difference between a win and a loss, or like my one at the weekend where we're 1-0 down and then due to a decision being incorrectly given we go 2-0 down, and that kind of kills the game for us. There's a lot of different situations that these kind of decisions can be put down to, and they're all negative. It doesn't reflect well on our game, it doesn't reflect well on the referees involved, or the officials, the linesmen, and especially the Scottish FA, as they're in charge of who is given these games, and who is kind of, if they make a mistake, are they then just shafted down a few leagues? No, not in many cases. It does happen sometimes, but often they're given a big game the next week anyway, and even if they are shafted down a few leagues, for example, if Bobby Madden makes a mistake in a Premier League game and Falkirk Dunfermline's the next week, he'll get shafted into the Championship and get given a big derby game between Falkirk and Dunfermline, and that's the irony of it. They're given these big games in the Premiership, and then when they get shafted down a few leagues as a quote-unquote punishment, they're given one of the biggest games in the lower leagues. So it is a bit of a letdown, and as I said, just in general, the refereeing standard is a big letdown this season. It's so obvious that the refereeing standard has been horrendously poor, and it just needs, the game needs to be upped by these guys, and something needs to change. As I said, technology could come into it. It's all down to the money though, and will Scottish FA plump up the money to actually get this involved? It's a lot of money to get stuff like VAR, goal line technology, all of that kind of stuff. It's a lot of money to get that involved. I've personally never thought that Scottish football would go as far as to plump so much money into that type of stuff, just because we never really do plump money into a lot of stuff. That it's obviously affected the large majority of teams in Scotland so far this season, and before that, as I mentioned with Motherwell and their kind of problems with goals going over the line and then not being given, the Hibs one that I mentioned. So it isn't just the big teams that get affected by this. Even my own team got affected by it at the weekend in a more minor scale, but it's still a bad call, and it's a wrong call by referees and officials, and it has to be sorted. So all I've got to say is Crawford Allen, John Beaton, Craig Charleston, Kevin Clancy, Willie Collins, Stephen Finney, Bobby Madden, John McKendrick, Stephen McLean, Alan Muir, Douglas Ross, Craig Thompson, Mike Roncone, Nick Walsh, a long list of officials and linesmen, and the Scottish FA. You're incompetent, you're letting the lads down. Buck up your ideas, lads. We need better quality than this, and we need better results from our officials. But aye, that's it for this video guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy, please give it a like. Comment down below anything you think about the kind of whole debacle around this. Do you think that technology should come into it? Will they plump up the money to get this type of stuff involved? Or will nothing change and we're just going to expect the same kind of poor quality for seasons to come? And also, subscribe for more of this type of content. Thanks for 680 subscribers. Just hit that, so cheers for that. But aye, until the next video, which will be a my thoughts on video tomorrow, I'll see you then. Cheers guys.